Hallo, freunde und willkommen. Thank you so much for joining me today. This video is kind of by request, based off of a couple comments from last week's kind of update video, which, by the way, thank you so much for the love and support. It really touched my heart, and I can't express gratitude enough for that. And in that video, a couple people had commented about wanting to know a little bit more about the process of getting a German driver's license and a German visa. Okay, hold up right there. Let's just take a break here. I need to clarify something with you all. I keep referring to this as a visa or spousal visa or what have you. And in fact, it is not. This is a residence permit or an Aufenthaltstitel. Aufenthaltstitel, right? So I wanted to clarify that because it's not just a normal visa. I was able to get this because my wife is a German citizen and we moved back to Germany. So this is still good for 3 years before I need to renew it or apply for permanent residency or get dual citizenship or whatever. But I wanted to make sure I threw this in there. I got comments on my last video stating that it was probably this, and I should have known because it's written right there on the top of the card. So thank you for pointing that out to me. I didn't want to confuse anybody. So if your spouse is a German citizen and you're moving back to Germany, ask about the Aufenthaltstitel, the residence permit, not just a visa. I'm not sure if my wife did that or if we just kind of explained our situation and they automatically just, put this in the system and not just a normal visa. So I wanted to make that clear. I keep referring to it in this video as a spouse visa or a visa, but I wanted to make sure that I cleared that up for you. Now you can continue with the video. Specifically, I believe there was 2 or 3 comments, and they're really in the same situation that I'm in. I'm an American citizen and my spouse is a German citizen. So the process for me and for those of you kind of in the same situation is going to be very similar. I know one of them actually commented that they're packing up all their stuff in the US and getting ready to move over here to Germany. So congratulations on that, and I wish you the best of luck. So in this video, I will explain a little bit about how I got my German driver's license and visa. Hopefully I can answer most of your questions. If by the end of this video you have more questions, please leave a comment down below. Disclaimer, I'm not a legal expert. This is by no means legal advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. If you have more legal questions, please seek guidance from an expert. I am not that guy. Okay, let's get started. So I have here my German driver's license and my German visa. One question was, how did you get your visa if you don't have a job? It's a very good question, and I will explain exactly how I did that. Let's start with the visa because you kind of need that started before you can get your driver's license, and I will explain in a little bit. The very first piece of paperwork you're going to need when you get over here is the Meldebescheinigung, all right? And that is basically the registration form stating that you reside in Germany in a particular town. We live near Lahnstuhl, so the office that we went to get that was the Einwohnermeldeamt. And what we needed was proof of residency. We don't have a house yet. We are living with family. So what we needed to do was have her cousin write a little statement stating that we were living with her. We don't have to pay rent, but a statement from her stating, yes, they live here. There are bedrooms. There is a bathroom. They aren't living in a closet. I am aware of their presence. Here's the address, that sort of thing. That was enough for us to get this Meldebescheinigung. That piece of paper is super important, so you'll want to keep that safe because you'll need it for more than just a driver's license and visa. Once you have that, you will also need your marriage certificate. Luckily for us, ours is in German because we are married here in Germany. However, if you married a German citizen in the United States, you may not have a German language marriage certificate, and I'm not entirely sure if you need to have that translated, so that's something you might have to look up. You will also need your current passport, obviously. And then two things that I'm not entirely sure if they're required or not. They did ask us for them. I do have them, so I supplied them with it. But again, I'm not sure. He didn't seem like he was too worried if we didn't have them. One of those is proof of health insurance. I am a vet. I have a VA card. I'm enrolled in the VA medical system, so I get care through the VA. I just gave them my VA card. They made a copy of it. I also printed off everything I could find online in my portal on the VA site pertaining to health insurance and disability and all of that, and took that with us as well, which was enough. We also were asked for proof of income. Now, again, I'm not sure if this is actually required or not, but since I do get disability, I do get a disability payment every month. So I had a form stating how much that was. It's per month. I supplied that, and again, that was enough as well. So once you have all this paperwork and everything, you want to go to the Kreisverwaltung. That is, for us in Kaiserslautern, that is the main building for immigrants, for those seeking asylum, for foreigners, all right? My wife being a German citizen and my boys being dual citizens, they didn't have to do anything at this office. We could do everything in Lohnstuhl at the Einwohnermeldeamt. I'm gonna get these words down. So my boys got their German IDs. We actually just picked up their German passports yesterday. My wife got her German driver's license and her German ID, all from this local office in Lohnstuhl. I was the only one that had to go to the Kreisverwaltung in Kaiserslautern. Once you have all that, you'll show up. Well, you'll want to go first. And I believe, at least here in Kaiserslautern, if we're there before noon, we don't have to have an appointment. You just pull a number and wait for your turn. So we did go there because we wanted to know what we needed, which I highly recommend you visit them first. They will give you all the information that you need. So we gathered all that, gathered all of our paperwork, and then we went back, supplied all the paperwork, and we were thinking, okay, we're gonna submit all this paperwork. They're gonna have to send it to Berlin. Berlin's gonna say, no, you did it wrong, and send it back, and then we're gonna fix it, and it's gonna be this big thing. That wasn't it at all. We supplied all the paperwork. We went down the hallway and paid 100 euro. That's all it costs for my visa is 100 euro. My wife's visa to go to the US was almost $800 back in 1998 and 3 trips to Frankfurt. So this was a lot easier of a process and a lot cheaper. We just took it there. The guy said, okay, we're good. Call us in 5 or 6 weeks, see if it's here, and then you can come pick it up. And we left thinking that was it. I mean, that was, okay, super simple. So we just wait 5 or 6 weeks. Now, with the driver's license, the German driver's license, the reason why I started with the visa is because to get your driver's license, you will need to show proof that you are getting a visa and that it's in process. They're not going to give just everybody a German driver's license. You have to prove that you're going to stay, which makes sense. So that is one thing that you will need. Once you submit all the paperwork for your visa, you will get a form stating that it is in process. Along with that, you will need your old license from the United States. You will need to have that license translated, and you will need to have an eye test. Now, I will leave a link down below to a PDF that lists 39 states that have I think they call it a reciprocity agreement with Germany, meaning that either the practical exam or the written exam or both are exempt. There's 39 states that have full and partial agreements. I think 11 of the 39 are partial agreements, meaning you'll have to take the written exam in those 11 states, but the others, both written and practical, are exempt, meaning you don't have to worry about that over here in Germany. Arizona was one of them that was exempt for both. So have to take a practical exam, and I didn't have to take a written exam. Now, if your state's not listed, unfortunately, they don't have an agreement, meaning you're going to have to take both a practical and written, which means you may need to enroll in driving school here in Germany, which I believe is like a month, and quite expensive. So please look at this list. Hopefully your state is on there. Now, you'll need that driver's license translated, and I will leave a link down below to ADAC, which is the German automotive department. I don't know what it stands for. If I figure it out, I'll leave it right here. But they do like roadside service and all sorts of stuff, but they do offer translation services for driver's licenses. So what I needed to do was just send them a copy. It's all done through email. I didn't have to go to an office. I sent them a copy of the front and back of my license, paid 65 euro, which sounds kind of steep, but in the US, we looked at having paperwork translated and it could run thousands of dollars. So 65 wasn't so bad at this point. So it'll take like 7 to 10 days for you to get that back. Once you have that, you'll also need an eye test. For us, we went to Landstuhl. My wife's sister has an eye doctor here in Landstuhl, so we popped in one day thinking we'll have to come in, make an appointment, and then come back in a week or whatever. That wasn't the case. They actually had time for us right away. I sat down in their little chair, did my eye test, which consisted of telling them where the opening was on a circle, top, bottom, left, right, top, etc. For both eyes. Took less than 10 minutes. And then she filled out a little form, said, "Thank you very much, have a nice day." And we walked out and immediately stopped and looked at my wife and said, "We didn't pay for that." We just walked in, got an eye test, and didn't pay. And then super simple. We did tell them it was for a driver's license, so I don't know. I mean, some of these little nuances here in Germany are blowing my mind, and that was one of them. So once you have all of that, your eye test, your translated driver's license, and your visa started, you can go to the office for the driver's license, which for us is in the same building, the Kreisverwaltung, just a different area. We supplied all of that, and then they told me 3 to 4 weeks. It ended up taking about almost 5 weeks to get my German driver's license. But there it is. I am legal to drive. Now, if you have a motorcycle license in the US, like I did, unfortunately that does not translate over. Now, I do have an endorsement on my license for a motorcycle, but unlike the US, where you get a generic motorcycle license, you can take your motorcycle test on a moped, and you're legal to drive an 1100cc sport bike. Doesn't make sense, but that's the way the US does it. Here in Germany, it's not like that. You get a license for a moped, that's what you can ride. You get a license for an 1100cc super bike, sport bike, whatever, you can ride that, and a 400, and a 125, and a moped. All right, so there's different classes of motorcycle. I think 4 or 5 maybe. So what I got was the endorsement for a moped. I rode a 900cc sport bike in the US, and here in Germany I can ride a moped. Sounds fun. But I guess it's not all bad, because they did tell me, because I did have a motorcycle endorsement, I didn't have to go through the motorcycle school. My question though is, and if any of you know the answer or can definitively point me where I can find the answer, because it's been really hard Googling this, is because I have an endorsement, even though it's for a moped, does that exempt me from the written portion of the exam? Because I believe that's universal. It doesn't matter what kind of bike you ride, the road laws are going to be the same, right? And then I would just have to take the practical road test on the bike that, or the class that I want. So like I'm thinking of getting a 400, so I would need a license to be able to ride a 400cc bike. I'm not entirely sure, but In any case, German driver's license. Motorcycle license does not just immediately transfer over, but if you do have the M endorsement in the US, you may get, I didn't think I was going to get any of it and would have to do it from scratch, but they gave me a moped endorsement, so I'm good to go with that. And the total cost for my driver's license, the translation is 65 euro. I think the license itself was 30 to 40 euro. So we're looking at anywhere from 95 to 105 euro, which is the same, if not a little bit more than my visa, which is crazy. But I am now legal with both. The visa. I said I would mention how I got my visa without having a job. My wife is a German citizen. I got a spousal visa. She never gave up her citizenship, so she's still a German citizen. And the reason why the marriage certificate and all of that, yes, we are married. We've been married 27 years. I'm not looking to just come over here on a visa and then we'll split ways, anything like that. That's how I was able to get a visa. And I will be able to work on this visa as well. I don't need to get a separate work visa. Germany has so many different types of visa: spouse visa, work visa, student visa, tourist visa, all sorts. So this one is good for 3 years. And in that 3 years, I will need to learn German. Otherwise, by the end of the 3 years, if I'm not at a certain level, I will have to have it renewed for another 3 years. However, if I am fluent enough in German, I can apply for my German citizenship. Because I'm married to a citizen, I only need to be in country for 3 years. If you're not married to a German citizen and you want German citizenship, dual citizenship, I believe it's 5 years. It used to be 6 or 7, but I think they've reduced it now to 5. You'll want to check into that. But if your spouse is a German citizen currently, it's only 3 years. So in 3 years, I will take a German test, get the certificate proving that I am language proficient, and then I can do the process for getting my dual citizenship. If you want to know more about that, I know that the channel Passport 2, Donnie, did a video recently on how difficult it was for him to get dual citizenship. So I will leave a link down to that video in the description if you want to check that out. I will also document that process when the time comes for me. So again, that was our process. You will need the Meldebescheinigung, which is the registration form. You can get that at the Einwohnermeldeamt, wherever you end up in Germany, and then you'll need to find the Kreisverwaltung, which is the main office for foreigners and, you know, visas and driver's license and that sort of thing. So I hope I answered most of your questions. Again, if you have any other questions pertaining to this, or maybe how we got a bank account or how we got our cell phones, please leave a comment down below and I will do a video on that particular topic. So thank you so much for watching. If you got any kind of usefulness out of this video, please give me a thumbs up. And please think about subscribing if you want to see any more of this type of video about our processes of moving from the US to Germany. I would really appreciate it, and I really appreciate you sticking with me and watching this video. I hope you have a wonderful week. Take care, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.